Marcus for America, formerly of Stacey Abrams' campaign, formerly of a couple of different campaigns across the nation, Black Outreach Director for Bernie Sanders, and also an advisor for the Black Male Voter Program. I'm sorry, it's been so long, Mondale, but that's me. And I also own a company called Restorative Roots in Chicago, Illinois. Your cannabis-friendly company. Thank you guys for coming in, and I'm gonna pass it on to whoever wants it, man.
Mayor Mondale Robinson.
Oh my! Listen,
yeah, the
mayor.
Wow, listen, I want to say something. You know, it's been a while since we've done this like this as family, and what the world might not know is we still keep in touch sporadically through our group chat message. There's a fourth part of us that you don't see, and that's Dwayne.
Yeah,
he's still here too. But I want people to know that, like, I'm on TYT on TV and also Rebel HQ, and I'm not nervous in front of the camera. For some reason, you put Clickbaity in front of the name, and I still get nervous. It's good to be sitting right here looking at the screen and knowing that our fans are going crazy, and I'm doing it with Marcus and Benjamin Dixon. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Happy Father's Day to the world, and especially to you Black men.
Bless you, brother. Absolutely. Bless you. Yes, happy Father's Day to y'all and to those that got the children, and Dwayne in the background, who I know he's a daddy, and then good to be here, man. It's good to be here with the brethren. I think one of the times we talk, because we keep in touch and we stay in touch over the last couple of years now. And I remember one time you and me talked, Mondale, and I was just talking about the amount of comfort. It's not safe for us to be out here and not walk amongst other kings. You know what I mean? It's good for us to be able to stand side by side with other brothers who are doing their thing and out here fighting these lions and tigers and bears on a regular basis. So I feel great sitting here. I mean, I normally get nervous, but I don't feel nervous. I feel comfortable amongst my brothers, man, in terms of, I know I got some good men flanking me on where am I at? Above me. Yeah, I was gonna say my left and right, but above me. So it's good to be here, man. It's been a while. Miss y'all, brothers. Love y'all. And it's good to just do what we do. And one last thing, the fact that the three of us can do some stuff right now that is necessary, especially for Black men in this country. So I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and also before we go too far into this thing, man, Squirrel Gang, what up?
Squirrel Gang, wow.
Squirrel Gang, what up?
Gang, what's up, everybody?
So if I may, because I think we need to like level set for a second, and I guess that's what they say in professional settings. I have not been professional in a very long time, by the way, but I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. If you know who we are, then you know that we've been through a whole bunch of shit stuff.
Don't worry, Doc.
Stuff. You know that we've been through a whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully, the algorithm. Yeah, and. I want to just level set. We started in COVID. Me and Mondale started in COVID with Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap, where we were going every night for y'all, talking about these same issues, some old issues, some new issues, talking about voting, this, that, and the other. We had different iterations of Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap. Our dear brother Jason Johnson was on at one point.
That's right.
It was been me and Mondale was on at one point. Then we brought on Benjamin at one point, and this has been definitely one of the best iterations of Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap. This is what you gotten used to. This is what you guys have seen. We've interviewed some of the heaviest hitters of politics in the past. So if you don't know, go back into our YouTube channel. You can see a lot of the work that we've done in the past. And because of different situations, I mean, I want to give a shout out to. I definitely got to get a shout out to Mondale. Because, you know, I mean, you can watch the episode where he said he would be the last person to run for office. He ended up being the first person to actually become the mayor, right? But there's an episode, there's receipts. There's receipts on right here. So if you get on here and start capping, but like, oh, you got to just watch Mondale because Mondale will do something. And I mean, but we've all had to go through certain changes since you've last seen our faces together. Me personally, I am actively opening up a dispensary in Chicago, Illinois right now, and it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm going to have a couple more across the country. So all those things that I was talking about in the past, they're actually coming to fruition for me right now, personally, because in my opinion, like politics is great, but if you ain't got no kind of capital behind you, you're not really going to make the substantial changes that you need to make to be able to hire the people that you want to fund the things that you want. So that's what I just want to level set real quick. Ben, you kind of sort of in the past have kind of directed this thing. So we're going to throw this thing back at you real quick because
wait a minute. Okay. Let me I want to pause. Mundell, man, congratulations on becoming mayor of your, if I'm not mistaken, it's your hometown. Like, this is where you grew up, and I just want to salute you on that, man, because that is a huge step. And I do recall you saying you would never run for office.
Yeah, he was the loudest voice.
It was. I mean, we said it on the show. We were like, we all got to run for office. I said, I'm not doing it. It's not happening.
Yep.
And like old folks say, keep living. Yeah, man. I went back home to run for mayor. And I think what's amazing about being elected is I get to put to bed a lot of myths. First, say rural, and they really using it as a synonym for redneck, when in actuality, if you're Black in the South, you're more likely to be in a rural space than you are in a suburban space. Also, people think rural people aren't progressive. So I ran on a super progressive platform that said everything about universal health care, universal basic income, and we need to make sure that people have quality living spaces. And so I was talking about how we build luxury Section 8 housing. And I mean, and I not only not only did I win in a rural space on that platform, I beat a white incumbent by 50 percentage points. Right.
Ooh.
Right. And I mean, this is we spent the entirety of COVID telling the world, giving this free message to the Democratic Party, these ideas that if you don't spend 80% of your budget on TV and you put it in people, and you had a campaign that is grounded in the people, then this is possible. And people looked at us like we had three heads. We do, but three heads individually. It was a case study basically for what Black people can be if you show them that they exist as a part of your campaign, not as a tool of your campaign.
That's right. That's right. That's what's up. And then Marcus, man, like, I just got to applaud you, brother, because you are doing exactly what you said that you were going to be doing. Congratulations on all the dispensaries that you're opening up. Congratulations on moving on up in that economic strata, man, because I know every step you take is going to move you a little bit higher and put a little more capital in your pocket. And I feel good about the capital going in your pocket because I know you mean well by our people. You ain't like some of these other cats. They get money and they're going to go and do something that's going to harm us. I know that you got the best interests of our people in mind. So salute to you too, brother.
Yeah, thank you. It's don't get me wrong, this is expensive. I'm not balling right now. Like, by any means am I not balling. I'm spending every single dime on lawyers and zoning and making sure that like I get the right product and the right people. I'm in the industry, and I think the biggest thing for me is two things. First is, like, when we decided to get together as the Thirsttrap, right? I wanted to bring on people who don't just talk about it, but they be about it, right? Yeah. And like, I've known Mondale for a little while now, and he's one person that I'll say, like, when that brother said he was gonna run for mayor, I was like, Enfield's straight. You know what I mean? Enfield's about to be straight.
That's right.
Because we surrounded ourselves. I wanted to surround myself with somebody who is going to do and showed me that they've done what they're going to say they're going to do for their people, right? And Benjamin, you've been trying to burn the world down with good politics for years before people even recognize who you were, right? So like that's the power of what this particular venue was for me. And it's good to finally see like some of the things that are coming into fruition that we talked about, that we had to actually make happen, right? It's not for me to be a staffer on anybody's campaign no more, because I blow you up. I don't like y'all. I don't. And we're at the place right now when it comes down to it politically, where they've been selling us a dream for a minute. So, my mentality was either I get it myself and I do it myself, or I get it myself and I buy it myself. It's one way or the other, right? So one of us decided to go ahead and get it themselves and make it happen themselves. You kept talking about it yourself. And I just want to put myself in a predicament where I can actually fund some of the things. And eventually, like Rahm Emanuel said, I hate to quote the devil, but you got to make yourself financially secure. I want to make my family and I financially secure so we can do things like donate to the Bright campaigns. And then they become a little bit more accountable to you, unfortunately, when you have the money behind you, right? Like it's a crazy thing when you go from working on campaigns to donating $1,000 to somebody, and all of a sudden they start listening to what you got to say. All of a sudden their platform starts changing up because they know if they're gonna put it on their website this time, they're gonna talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, they don't get that check no more. And that's how they've been working. And that's how these folks been working for years, man. And I saw it on one side, and I don't plan on being on that side no more. I plan on influencing things, right? So and influencing from the same exact things that we've been talking about on this show. If you ain't got reparations on your platform, I'm not gonna rock with you like that. If you don't have healthcare and Medicare for all and the things that we need as a community and beneficial, I'm not gonna rock with you like that no more. And I'm gonna get on this show and talk about you.
Facts.
So I think it's important that we talk about what we've been doing over the 2 years. And I don't want to jump back too much, but I do want to take the time to say something that I said to these two brothers. I want to tell the other part of Clickbaity, our the people that watch the show faithfully. I see them back out there already. People say they clicked so fast and all that. I want to remind them that we as humans did what so many people did. We made Clickbaity this important voice, not just because it's us three, but the idea that we have three Black men that are politically savvy and also speaking from a space that is extremely important and also unheard in mainstream, giving people the truth about politics, and it's grounded in political history. So speaking of that political history, you can't talk about Black political history and not talk about the Black church. So Marcus, when you said that you had, you went to this space to become economically free so you can own your politics, and that too is a political statement in the highest form. And then I ran for office. We also got to let the folk know that good right Reverend Ben Dixon is also getting back to the roots.
Getting
back to the roots of Black politics when he is now the head of a flock. And I think that too is powerful, and it's wonderful, and it gives Ben another voice and another way to unite and bring back a part of our power. The Black power, the Black church used to be the organizing mechanism for our community. So, boy, when I heard the news about that, Reverend Dixon, excited, brother.
Pray my strength in the Lord. That's all I'll say. No, for real. Hey, listen, man, I could never even hide it. Like I started in the church, man. I was a pastor years and years and years ago, like in my 20s, just for a brief, for like 3 years. And I left the church because I saw the need to get into politics like hard, right? I saw the fight was going over into politics. And then over the last 2 years, honestly, over the last 3-4 years, I've been seeing the fight is now moving back to the religious realm because of all these crazy evangelicals, man, these white evangelicals. And I tell my congregation all the time, we didn't have to fight against Jim Crow, against Muslims. We didn't have to fight for civil rights against Buddhists. We had to fight for our civil rights against people who call themselves Christians, just like we do. And so it is a fight that I think I was equipped to just, jump into headlong because of my experience, because of my background. So we're still fighting a good fight, man. It's like, it's for justice, it's for truth. And there's no need for us to have churches on every corner if on every corner we got some of the worst conditions that we see anywhere on the planet. So we want to mobilize, and we've been having a really effective time of mobilizing and organizing. So, church on Sunday morning is cool. We have a great time. We do. But on throughout the week, we actually are organizing. We have organizing meetings that we have on a regular basis around the counties. So I hope that we'll see a big push from the Black church in a way that we haven't seen in a while, especially in the areas that we're doing on the ground organizing. So, shout out to y'all boys. And you know what? Let's get to it, man, because one of the reasons we all came together and to say, you know what, we need a broadcast. And we'll talk briefly about it because we were not able to secure our friend, our mentor, our just, personally for me, I just absolutely love the work of Dr. Cornel West, who has announced that he is running for president. The initial announcement was for him to run on the Movement for the People's Party, the MPP party, which we could discuss that in a moment. But then he has now switched. I'm not sure if he's officially switched on paper yet. There's still some questions of whether or not the filings have been updated, so we don't know that for sure. But he is switching to the Green Party, which for a lot of people is a much better situation for him because of what he stands for and all the other things that we'll talk about in a minute. But that's the reason that we came together. We do have a call out to Dr. West's team, and we're hoping to get him on with us as soon as we can get him available. He's obviously running for president now, but I just want to, let's just start there, man. Marcus, we'll come to you first because, you have a relationship, a connection with Dr. West. What were your thoughts when you heard he was running for president, first for the MPP party and then for the Green Party? And then we'll go from there.
My thoughts. Hey, man, first, before I get into it, hey, don't forget, we clown people too. So be careful. We still on that.
Who got something already?
No, nobody yet. Nobody yet.
Oh, okay. I said, let me.
Y'all forgot this ain't the regular show. We'll get on you, especially when Mondale start to get roasting. Be allowed to do that. So roasting, right?
Come on, bro.
When it comes down to Dr. West, because he is like a mentor and a friend. I forget whatever party he's on, right? Like when you have a friend saying that they're announcing for president, I'm going to say good on you, good job, right? Yeah. Benjamin, you and I went back and forth about this right here, right? Because since I last been on Clickbaity, man, I've been a real big fan of, you know what? I'll let the world burn. I'm like the Joker, right? In Batman Returns, right? Like I just want to see it all burn and then maybe we come back, right? But there's some good and there's some bad in it. But when it comes down to it, Dr. West is a animal or a created animal from which the Democrats have done to themselves. The Democratic Party has not faithfully done the things that Black folks needed. And I'm not trying to say everybody in the Democratic Party, but when it comes down to it, I'm not trying to say Joe Biden particularly. I'm not trying to say any person, right? Because I'm sick of that, right? I'm sick of the conversations around like, oh, this person didn't do this for us. No, the mechanism of the Democratic Party fundamentally does not help Black people. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but it doesn't, right? And what do you? And at some point, can you hear me? Mm-hmm. And at some point, when do you say to yourself, well, something has to give, something has to change? You know, I'm gonna age myself. The first time I voted was in '96. And I remember the same statements then that were being said. They're being said actively today. Now is not the time. We have to make a strategic vote. We have to keep a certain person from becoming the president. We have to keep a certain group of people out of power. So therefore, Black folks have repetitively done the same thing over and over again and got nothing from it.
Hold on 1 second, Marcus. I'm so sorry to interrupt. In true clickbaity.
It starts already.
It started in true clickbaity fashion. Anthony is trolling the hell out of us right now. Listen, so you said the first time I voted was '96. He said, "Damn." Hey, this is if you like Black comedy. I don't know if y'all saw with
yes, Kevin Hart, right? Kevin Hart
interviewing. What's the brother name?
From Iron Man. What's my man name?
And my man said I'm 56, and Kevin Hart was like, "Damn." So, he just tried to hit you with that. But
put his face back up.
He also said,
put Anthony back up. What do he look like?
Oh, Marcus,
Anthony, you look like you got a musty beard. Like you look like your beard always smells like your girlfriend.
Oh my God!
Don't play with me, boy.
Marcus, it's bad, Marcus.
Hey, look.
Anthony don't want no smoke, man.
Anthony
looked like a nice.
with him.
Anthony looked like a nice trash burger eating guy, man. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Help me understand, Anthony. What makes Anthony think
Anthony got sweat rings around his head. Anthony look like he been bowling too hard.
Anthony.
Hold on.
I want you not to, you don't have to take this from Marcus. You can join the Ugly People Union. You look like the perfect candidate for president. But Ben, did you want to respond to his comment about guns?
I do. I want to know what makes this man think I'm against black people owning guns. I am pro Second Amendment for black folks, especially in the year of our Lord 2023. Now, listen, if we get rid of all the guns, fine, we get rid of all the guns, but black folks should not unilaterally disarm when these white folks are marching in the streets with their weapons. So I don't know where he got that, but I just make sure that's clear. Yeah,
it's cold in hell. It's cold in hell when I give up my Second Amendment rights.
Come on,
and
man.
I know they don't work the same for us as they do for other populations, but it's like for instance, and we can get into this later after I finish the Cornel West thing. When it comes down to the young brother who played for the Grizzlies, man, look, y'all listen, listen. He might be an ignorant little kid when it comes down to it, but on the same token, you know how many white NBA players have posted their guns on social media? You know how many white athletes have posted their guns on social media? Like, I get it. That might not be what the current life is, but we can get into that later because I really do want to finish this point about that. Doc, good on you, brother. We understand if you go back and watch our former shows, he's explained thoroughly about his viewpoint on the Democrats, right? He's personally explained it to me. And I'm not gonna go and I'm not gonna endorse or unendorse him at this moment. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the why.
Okay.
Right? The why is somebody needs to bring our issues up at a high level. And everyone in America knows that Dr. West is one person that can bring up issues at a very high level. Even if you try to ignore this man, he's going to literally be able to get his message out there, no matter how you feel about it. Can he win the election or not? It doesn't look like a winnable election. And I'll talk about the mechanism behind him real quick. The MPP, I don't know. Like that's I don't know if it's a money grab with them cats or not. You dig what I'm saying? And I hope they didn't manipulate my man into thinking that they were going to be behind him when really all they were doing is, and really all they were trying to do is get an email list so they can get some money. That's right. Like, I don't want that to be the situation. And when it comes down to the Green Party, like both of these entities that he's running for, that he's working with right now, ironically have a problem with black people. They have a very progressive slant, but both of these entities have a problem with black people. If you go back and you look at the MPP and the black folks who were in the MPP and all the complaints that they made about their issues and they're not being heard, that's why they blew up as soon as Dr. West got it. So that right there, then we know about the Green Party. The Green Party historically has issues with black folks. Even when they have a black man running for president or vice president, they have a problem with black folks, right? So it's like there's some of these folks are so far left that then came around to being right. And I don't know if I want Dr. West to do that. But on the same token, if there are certain things that he asks for, and I could find out, he's definitely gonna come back on this show, right? At some point, he's gonna be back on this show. And we could definitely find out if there have been certain provisions that are made, and if he even understands the issues that people of color have had with both of these two entities, and is he being used as a way to two things? I fundamentally don't want Dr. West to be used as a prop to mess with Biden. I know that sounds crazy. Am I a supporter of Biden? No, not really. But I want him to run on his own fruition. I want him to be purely about running for what he thinks is important for the people of America. That's it. And I can trust in that Dr. West will represent more of my interests than anybody else that I see so far. Will he be able to bring up issues Yes, and hopefully he pushes folks to start having conversations around the things that our community needs. Hopefully he pushes folks to actually say the reparations word out loud and happy and proud. Hopefully he pushes folks to actually start having a conversation about, Obamacare is okay if you don't have health care whatsoever, but why am I paying anything per month when we are the richest country in the world, right? So when it comes down to Dr. West running, I don't want him to be used, right? And that's my number one thing, because we're talking about my friend.
That's what I was gonna say. Right? This is a personal connection.
Yeah, right. You're talking about my friend, and Nick or whoever, bruh. You can look at me in my eyes on this post, right, on this live, man. We gonna have problems if it's like that. And when I say problems, I'm talking about coming out of retirement markets problem. So don't do that. Don't use Dr. West, because he might not know. Dr. West is a high level thinker. Is he going to work and think about the operation of the mechanics of a campaign? That's not his style, right? But you got to also look at it like this right here. The Democrats don't want to see Dr. West on nobody's stage. Not going against Biden, not going against DeSantis, not going against Trump. You don't want to see Dr. Cornel West on him. Do you know how far he will rip everybody apart? and that is something that's got to scare the crap out of people who are in power right now. The last thing I have on it, and I'll let it ride. No, it's undemocratic to say someone can't run for president. It's just undemocratic. You can feel whatever you feel. Nobody owes you. And whoever the gatekeeper is that decides, well, you know what, we need all the black folks to focus, because now is not the time. Again, like I said earlier, before Musty Beard got in the way, if now is not the time, then when? Because over 20 years, y'all have been saying the same exact things, and we haven't had a viable option. All of our voices either get shamed out, bought out, lied about, consistently argued with, looked bad upon, and we have to consistently go back to the well with these mediocre people who won't do a damn thing for us, but expect us to just sit there and wait and hope and pray that Clyburn or somebody allows one half of a bill to in the 40th page of a bill that says, and black people get a penny. And that's what I'm sick of. So kudos, Dr. West, for running. I don't know if you can win or not, but listen, I'm gonna tell you like this right here. At the end of the day, your voice is needed in any presidential campaign.
All right. Yeah, me and Marcus, we went back and forth for a little bit on this. Mundell, I want to come to you, man. What are your thoughts in terms of Dr. West running, the winnability of it? Just let it rip.
Yo, I think the winnability, I think is if we redefine the definition of victory, you know what I'm saying? Then Dr. West is already victorious. Meaning, if we say victory is only the results of a presidential election on election night, then that is likely a loss for Dr. West. However, if victory is to raise up the problems and also bring in a conversation, usher in a conversation, a real conversation about what is ailing black people, then I think we can get a victory out of this. I also am extremely nervous about this campaign for a lot of reasons. One, some that were articulated by Marcus as how they're trying to or possibly use Dr. West in this moment, but also what happens when the Hotep voice began to associate themselves with Dr. West in a way that grows to a singing choir that does more harm to what it means to be black man and political in 2023 than it ever has. So I'm super scared about that, right?
Unpack that for me, man.
Yeah. So right now, Dwayne, if you don't mind, put my brothers on the screen. So what I mean by that is, so this idea right now, the world has so much to say about black men, and we spend a lot of time talking to brothers in the political space. And when I say that is, I'm not talking about super voters, someone who votes every election, or even a likely voter, someone who votes 2 out of 3 elections. We spend a lot of time talking to brothers who are non-voters, meaning they registered but never vote, or brothers who are low, what the word called low propensity or sporadic, right? Low information voters, meaning they vote 1 out of 3 or none. And what we're finding out is these brothers aren't not voting because they don't care about politics or they're apolitical. These brothers have opted to not participate in elections because they don't see themselves in politicians. And when I say that, we asked black men, 1,155 black men in a survey, and we call them Brothers Be Voting Focus Group. Do they feel black men are speaking for their black electors are speaking for their issues or for them? And over 80% of black men disagreed. Like, no, we don't think black people that are elected are speaking for us. Now that's the black politicians. Imagine what these brothers feel about the white politicians. When we asked them if they trust Democrats, more than 50% said no, not at all. Right? 50% of these black men do not trust Democrats. Now that's not a champion for Republicans, but we also know that that leaves an opportunity that needs to be addressed. There's a hole in where black men see themselves and a connection to which party they belong to. They're not going for Republicans. They choose to sit out in elections. So what I'm saying is when you ask me to unpack it, the hoteps, these brothers on the internet who ain't got no good deed in their actions and how they show up, right? For the black community, they out here talking about stuff that is not grounded in fiction about how we shouldn't participate at all. Right. So when what I'm saying is they can misuse this moment by saying, "Oh, Dr. West wasn't invited to debate." Black men are too busy in life trying to make sure that the ends are meeting, that the light bills are paid, to understand that the Democratic Party can't control or invite Cornel West from the Green Party to debate Joe Biden, right? But it'll just look like the brother has been misdone. From that space, they can say, "Oh, this is why we need to sit out elections because they won't even let us participate in this manner." And that's just an easy example of how they can, start using this misinformation. Because what we found out was in 2021, everybody want to talk about 2022 or 2020. I don't even talk about those elections because they are trash examples for elections. Meaning, we spent in Georgia alone, to see the world like we did. The Democratic Party and their auxiliaries and their donors spent $800 million in the runoff alone. The runoff was 8 weeks. That's $1 billion, right? So
that's a runoff for John Ossoff and not John Ossoff, but it was Ossoff and Warnock, right?
$800 million in 8 weeks, y'all.
My guy.
So when you talk about what happened in that election, you're not talking about what's likely to happen in a normal election because you're never going to see that much money spent in such a short period of time, not to mention what was spent the entire year before, right? So a better year to look at is 2021. What happened in Virginia in their statewide elections? We saw Democrats lose all across the board, and it wasn't because black men started to vote for Republicans. It's because they sat out elections. So what I'm saying is if people use if people use Dr. West as a tool to get black men to sit out elections, then we can see another Donald Trump elections or possibly a Donald Trump going to the White House at the same time he's been convicted and sent to the jailhouse.
That's very possible.
Yeah, that's my number one fear, Marcus. My number one fear is, and everyone has priorities, and I the best I can recall, I've never said you have to vote. Now, I'm 100% sure I never told somebody you got to do this with your vote. Everybody's vote is personal, and everybody feels their issues. They are personal, and what matters most to them matters most to them. I respect that. Here's what matters most to me: making sure that neither one of those fascists, Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis, gets into power. A very close second is everything else that we've been fighting for, and the fact that we need to send the Democratic Party a message, and the fact that we still need Medicare for all, and all the things that we're fighting for. But my concern is the fact that Dr. West could be used, and he's already being used. Whether he's not doing it, but the people are so excited to use him as a cudgel to make sure people are reminded what people are saying on the internet. Oh, you don't have to vote for Joe Biden. No kidding. We know that. We absolutely know that. But why is this the main thing that people are shouting now that Dr. West is running? Either one of y'all jump in there. What are your thoughts and your concerns about that?
Well, it's a perfect storm of vote blue no matter who and electoral mathematics, in my opinion. It's a perfect storm of vote blue no matter who, electoral mathematics, and also let's disregard Black people, specifically Black men. I think those are the three things that are going on that could cause trouble, because you got to understand something. Out of that $800 million that was spent in Georgia, you know, these are apparatuses that need to pay their people. There's a lot of people who got very, very wealthy off of these elections, right? As we always talked about in the past, and as we need to talk about more and more in the future. Also, when it comes down to engaging Black folks, and I'm going to say this, it's against all the talking points that we've heard from the general public. The most important voting bloc in America right now is Black men, and you can argue that with me, and I'm not trying to get upset the sisters, but you can argue that with me. But y'all gonna vote. We're the biggest swing voters
right now.
Y'all are gonna vote.
Come on,
y'all are gonna vote. The sisters are gonna vote democratically, right? Right. Okay, so that means that you're a consistent voting bloc. Now, if you look at electoral math, that means that elections and running campaigns means you go out and you try to influence someone to support your campaign. That means that it's not an automatic given. That means that we're not automatically going, a campaign is not automatically going to give you, you're not automatically supposed to vote for one person. That's the reason why you have a campaign. If you go to your local state house race, right? You might not know anybody, but as soon as you see a mailer on the door that says, this is your candidate's one talking points, and then a canvasser knock on your door and says, hey, this is what my candidate's going to do. They are trying to influence you to support their person. It sounds real basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to do that for Black men. Therefore, we become swing voters. Therefore, Black men are literally doing what we're supposed to do. We're waiting for people to actually show us what you're going to do for us. And to answer the point about Dr. West is going to naturally talk to Black men. He can't help it. It's a part of his DNA. If you read any of his books, he talks to Black people, right? So there is going to be a problem if Dr. West's message gets to Black men. Now, do I think the Green Party has the apparatus to do it?
I'm sorry. That's wrong. Do
I think MPP has the apparatus to do it? You mean the Bernie Sanders offshoot MPP?
What the 7 year, the one that's been around for 7 years? No, don't get me wrong. You don't have to be here for hundreds of years, but they only been here for 7 years. Like ballot access. Come on.
No, they don't. So I mean, it's a scary process, but I'm gonna say like this right here. These organizations that are behind Dr. West need him more than Dr. West needs them.
Facts.
Right. And at the end of the day, they're going to use his platform to build themselves up. Are they using the platform to actually win an election? Is it going to be enough to take enough points away from a Democratic nominee? Because it is going to be leaning Democrats. Probably not, but it might possibly be, especially if we're in the margins. But the most important statement about this is this right here. Is Dr. West going to make the Democrats compete for Black men? So, and that's where it becomes interesting.
That's a good question.
Sorry to cut you off. I listen. I agree 100% with what's been said. I think too though, and no one should walk away from this space thinking that we've changed our position on how upset we are with the establishment as it pertains to how they show up, or I should say, don't show up for Black men. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that in a moment, in this moment, where you need Black men to win elections, right? The Democratic Party can't win national election if Black men perform at 2 or 3% less than we did in any previous election cycles. They can say what they want to. These are facts they need to swallow. So when Marcus,
can you say that fact again? What's that number?
If 2% of Black men do not participate in the election from last election, we don't have a Joe Biden presidency. We don't win some of the states we won in, right? People keep
2%, Mondale, 2%. 2%. Just 2%.
I'm trying to. So listen to what I'm saying. Listen to this. I hope I talked over that. I hope I talked over that.
Yeah.
Listen, I think if people are serious about like the math, and that's all you got to do. Not the math. Don't talk to me about an exit poll. Just go look at registered voters and the number of people who participate. If the 144,000 black men who didn't vote for Barack Obama, who were old enough, if the 144,000 black men who didn't vote in 2014, 12, or even 18 for Stacey Abrams, but they did vote in 2020. If those brothers don't vote, we don't have 2 Democratic senators from Georgia, and we damn sure don't have a Democratic president winning that state. Do you understand what I'm saying? So people can sit and pretend all they want to about we won because of this demographic. No, you win or lose because the participation of black men. If you don't believe me, look at what happened in Virginia in 2021. So
but you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that, Mondale.
I'm obligated to say that.
You're not allowed to, though. Right?
Why would people think we wouldn't say that, though? That's the thing. Like, why would? And when I say people, I mean, but Democrats, though, why would Democrats expect us not to say that obvious glaring fact? Matt, why wouldn't Democrats look at that data and say, well, we need to pour in about a good 25 million into getting that 2% because that's the make or break you? That, I mean, so this is clear. This is both relevant to us as black men, but it's also relevant in terms of politics, like just good politics. That's where your margins are.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, and Ben, this is a wonderful question, the why. Marcus said, I'm gonna start talking about the why. Ben, you're asking that why. Why wouldn't we be able to say that? Why would they think we wouldn't say that? Or why wouldn't they act when we say that? And it's because we have the same political class that has always ruled our side of the aisle, still ruling the outside of the aisle. These people came in with the idea that, the Southern strategy was they could use the Southern strategy like Republicans did. And if people not familiar with Southern strategy, they should go back and look at Lee Atwater and Nixon's campaign about how we can use Southern Christians and their hateful black folk to turn them out to Republican voters, right? And that's what they did. So Clinton used it as well, right? This is why he was the last Democratic president before Joe Biden to win Georgia. So what people are understanding is we have these same thinkings, these same minds are running the Democratic Party or their offshoots. This is why you get an email once a week from James Carville, who is damn near racist as Republicans. Some of the stuff James Carville say is as racist as some of the stuff Republicans say. So you have the Democratic class that's ran by most of the party money is spent on these advertisers who do the least amount of work to turning out voters. We know ads don't work. When we talk to black men, more black men get their information from their friends than they do from TV and radio. Right. So if you're spending more money on TV and radio than you're on YouTube, you're not even really talking to black men.
Come on.
You're not even talking to black men. And when I'm looking at battle rap, which is a major source of creating views, the only one that advertise them, they're Republicans.
Man, come on.
That's dangerous.
Mondale, let me jump in there real quick because I want people to just pause in this moment and really just think about how many brand new black voices you see coming out into the world from the right, from the conservative movement. Republicans know how important black men are. They are pouring money into black men commentators and black men. The Heritage Foundation done hired them, a couple of black men. You got Turning Points USA with Charlie Kirk. They done hired a whole bunch of black people. Even Moms for Liberty has started hiring some black women. So they absolutely know on that side how important it is to pour money into the black vote, if for no other reason but to suppress it. But they understand it. So what's going on with the Democrats?
Well, white feminism is what's going on with the Democrats. And to be quite honest with you, white feminism has never helped the black community at all. And what I mean by that, this is clickbaity. What I mean by that, I said white feminism. White feminism treats their white men who have power, who have real power, as problems. Black men, our power has been taken away. We never had it, never gained it in this country. Now, there is a legit conversation to be had about the power that we have within our own communities, but there's also no one ever has that conversation and then adds on the fact that we're not there because they've incarcerated us. You can't have that conversation without talking about incarceration of the black man. I'm sorry, you just can't. And so it becomes into, we need to have more conversations in our community about love. And about taking care of each other and about how we empower each other in our community and how we take care of our trans brothers and sisters and how we not leave them to the cold and how we protect black women and black women protect black men. Those are the conversations from that you're not going to get from white feminism. And I say that to say this right here. Toxic white feminism has not been an advantage for Black people in general. So if you have a organization that centers that before you center what's good for our community, then you're never going to get conversations around Black men, because Black men are the equivalent to white men without the power and more incarcerated by somewhere around 60%. So what kind of conversations are we really having within our community? And this is not a slight on white women. I hope y'all are watching this and y'all see this and y'all say, hey, look, maybe there is something to what he's saying. Because listen, if your husband is the manager and your friend's husband down the street is the CEO, and her friend's husband down the street has the fleet of cars that contract with each other, and their husband and that person is, and then there's one Black person who has a receptionist job, and that's a woman, and she lives by herself with her kids. Did you hear a conversation about Black men being in power anywhere in that conversation? But that is a normal conversation in American neighborhoods today. Miss me if you're trying to say something different, because it's the truth. So how do we? Yeah, go ahead, Mondale.
Ben, Marcus is onto something here. When you say, what's the problem with the Democratic Party? White feminism. Marcus said it's not a slight to white women. I think it is. I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna be real serious. Black men don't have vaginas. White women do, and they still voted for Republicans, and they see what Republicans are doing for them. So why are we voting better for white women's vagina than they are? It's because of toxic. This is what we're talking about. And then you don't hear the Democratic Party. Listen to it. I'm getting to what Marcus was talking about, that toxic white feminism. And you don't hear the Democratic Party ever blaming white women for their
Come on.
Black men.
No, oh no.
We voted 90+% for Democrats, and they still blame us.
Wasn't good enough.
White women vote fitted, and they don't get blamed.
The majority, wait, that wasn't the 2020, it was 54%. I mean, the majority went to Donald Trump.
Yes, white women. So
I'm saying,
that's right. So I'm saying, when you hear 54%, have you ever heard anybody say anything negative about the white man vote, or the white, or the Hispanic brother vote, or the Asian brother vote? Nope. They talk about the Black man vote, and we vote like Black women more than anybody else in this country. Black women outperform Black men, but we're still voting like a bloc. That's right. We're still voting like a bloc. Right. Ain't no other demographic in this country, no other race demographic in this country vote more together than we do. Everybody else split 50-50. Not the Black family. They talking about we don't vote together. We don't think about our power. We know exactly what our power is. Y'all just don't let us receive it as Black men. As Black men. Tell the truth.
Shame the devil. Tell the truth. Shame the devil.
It is Sunday, ain't it?
It's Sunday. Y'all all up in my sermon for this morning, because I sure talked about God not being a man, and talking about God, some trans issues in church. It was a little people ain't quite ready for that in the church, but we're working on them, because at the end of the day, you're right, Mondale, you're right, Marcus, and you really slow down and think about it. It is that white aspect of white feminism that is so detrimental. I Noah Changa, she said it like this. She was talking about corporate feminism, but she is still the same. She said corporate feminism does never trickle down. That positivity and all the accomplishments that are attributed to a lot of the feminism that we see around the world. When does it trickle down to the average woman, Black woman? And it's not trickling down to Black men. Mondale, one of y'all said that, like, Black men are doing better voting on behalf of white women issues than white women. Like, really, slow down and think about what he just said on that one, because folks, and then we still get blamed for it at the end of the day. So this is what I said when we talked about this over the weekend before we got on the show, y'all. We were saying how Black men are the swing voters, right? At this juncture, Black men are the swing voters, because there's enough Black men who are like, listen, one of two things, like either we won't participate, or there's a lot of Black men who are looking to on the other side of the aisle. I don't know what for, right? Except for just maybe an alternative, right? I don't see any policies on the other side of the aisle that's beneficial to a single Black person. I do know that there are people on the Republican side of the aisle who literally get paid to be Black voices for them, right? So some individuals, they're getting money, but there are no policies over there that benefit Black people. But at the end of the day, when you're not giving them anything on the party that we have voted for, I voted for them since 2000. I wasn't old enough to vote until 2000, the year they took the election from us. But you're right, for the last 23 years, for the last 30 years, we have been, how long have we as Black folks, I'm just talking about my lifetime, let's go back further, since what, 68? Black folks have consistently and persistently voted as a bloc to support the Democratic Party. And then at the end of the day, when we give them the most allegiance, they give us the most hell, blaming us for everything whenever they lose, when they aren't spending the money in our communities to even get our vote from canvassers, let alone actual policies.
Right. If you want to have policy conversations with Black men, then you start talking about Black economics. I mean, don't get me wrong, sisters talk about Black economics too, but when it comes down to the nuclear family that I know a lot of folks don't like, and by the way, I need to say something. This is very important. You can be pro-Black man and not a misogynist.
Come on.
I want everybody who ever watched this show to understand this. You can be pro-Black man and not be a misogynist, right? And not be power hungry, right? And the problem is that being pro-white man is a toxic white feminism thing, because white men have power and they typically tend to wield it against the folks that aren't white men. Black men, being positive about Black men is more about being positive about a whole overall community. I know a lot of folks do not want to hear this. The Twitterverse, the Hoteps, the Sheteps, everybody, the folks only want to hear that Black men are problematic, and that's it. And that's it. But you're not going to get that on this show. And if this ain't your show, this is never going to be your show. If you think that we're going to be on some, all Black men need to be accountable and that's it, shut up, nothing else is happening. Well, guess what? A lot of us understand completely that we need to be accountable. And I'm going to hold them folks accountable. We got a whole mayor right there. We got a whole mayor right there that probably is holding more Black men accountable than anybody you know on Twitter.
Come on.
Right? But don't get it twisted. I got to say this. I got to bring it back to what clickbaity really is. Because I'm sick of the thought process that us cheering for ourselves and recognizing our power has been such a faux pas and so shunned that if you actually do it, folks want to confuse that with toxic masculinity. They want to confuse, hey, you know what? Our vote is valuable, as toxic masculinity. They want to confuse, hey, you know what? We need jobs. We need to be behind the scenes in politics, as toxic masculinity. They want to confuse, you got to earn our vote for our communities, as toxic masculinity.
The good thing, though, Marcus.
Go ahead, Mondale. You still on mute, bro.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. No, what I was going to say is, like, the crazy thing about this particular time, though, Marcus, and what I actually see as an opportunity is with the campaign of Dr. West and how he speaks so clearly to the very specific issues that Black men care about, that it has made us that much more valuable in 2024, to the point where we ain't got to ask them for nothing no more. I don't care what y'all think about Black men and think we're being toxic because we're stepping out and saying, now this is how we're going to do it, right? This is how it needs to be done based on the data. Here's the other thing. Well, especially in this particular group, I want to distinguish these three men that are on your screen from anyone else, because I don't know them. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of other good podcasters, YouTubers that got good Black politics. But the three of us, our politics, number one, they're sound, and we'll challenge anybody to any conversation, any debate that you want to. Number two, it's rooted in data, right? And Mondale, you can speak to the plethora of data that you have gathered that show this very specific phenomenon of the importance of Black men. And then when we add on top of that, Dr. Cornel West being the Achilles heel. Like, I people think that I'm afraid of Dr. West running for office. No, I'm sitting back like, Y'all just don't realize the importance of black men in this particular moment, because he is going to speak to black men. Democrats have benefited from black men, but he's going to be the one speaking to black men. So somebody in this election is going to hear from black men, whether they like it or not, or they will find out in 2024 the power, the real power of black men. I do not want to see DeSantis. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Trump. I don't.
Okay, hold on. I got a question for Benjamin.
Go ahead.
Benjamin, I got one question, and I think this is important. How many times do we have to save Democrats from themselves?
Here's the question. I got an answer.
Right? But here's the thing. Okay, so what comes first, the chicken or the egg or the worm? That's the chicken eats, right? Like, what? Why do?
Because I still live here. Because I still live here.
Take this with a grain of salt, though.
Okay, all right.
Y'all, we haven't been on in a while, and I need to say this to the general public. These guys left me alone for about a year or so by myself in my corner playing with my toys by myself, and I ended up just like, you can't leave me alone that long, because I started thinking that I want to burn the world down, and I want to just let it all go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to realize that I'm more of a normal black man than I had ever been before in my life. So but I know you're going to get to the answer, but I have to ask the question thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not getting something from people and someone is talking to us about our issues, then why as a community should we actually tell black men to go against someone who is talking about their own issues? Please answer that question. I just need to hear the answer.
You've already given the answer. There's your answer, and then there's my answer. The answer that you gave earlier was the sheer electoral mathematics of it, right? The sheer electoral mathematics of it is Dr. West can talk to us about our issues as much as we want, as much as we like. And I would honestly be honored to sit around and talk with him about it for hours every day. Can he win? Because whether or not we actually get something depends on who has power, right? The second thing for me is the reason that the Democrats, I don't know if I'm particularly going to accept the whole framing that you gave, but I'm gonna go with it for a second. Saving them from themselves. That's because I still live here and I have kids here, and I'm not at the stage of, if you had caught me before I had kids, you might have caught me at a stage where I could feel free to burn it all down. I'm at the stage of, I will burn it down to save my children. I don't feel like we have to burn it down in this moment, but on the other side of the aisle, in this, we are dealing with the breed of fascists, right? And I have been studying them closely. I've been following them closely. I know them well because we all are Christians, right? These Christian fascists who want to take over are just as against me as a black Christian as they are against the LGBTQIA community. They will put me up on the wall just as fast as they will put a gay person up on the wall. They will come after my children just as much they will go after a trans kid. So we're dealing with people on the other side of the aisle that, unfortunately, we have people in power who are not qualified to stop them. The Democrats are not qualified to stop them because they haven't stopped them. But does that mean that I lay down my arms and say, here, fascist, here's the White House? Now, I can't do that.
Yeah, I think that's powerful. And guys, listen, I said something earlier on in the show, and I want to finish that statement because I got excited trying to let the world know that my dear brother Dixon was a reverend now, and been a reverend, but now he has a flock. But what I started the statement was, I said we make the mistake of making Clickbaity a product of COVID. When in actuality, Clickbaity is too important to be a product of something that was COVID. What that did, though, was it allowed us to run without discipline. What I meant without discipline is we started late, we stopped whenever we wanted to, and we would talk for hours, and we did it every day. None of those things sound sustainable. What we're trying to bring to you all now is a sustainable, succinct version of Clickbaity with the same three faces that you grew to love and be comfortable with. And with that, someone asked early on in the show, I think around at 5:19, Anthony asked, is this a normal thing? This is more than normal. This is Clickbaity back at it. Every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to find Marcus Mundell and Benjamin Dixon sitting right here talking to you, unless one of us is on vacation, which you will know about. We'll talk about it, but this show will not be bringing you here and then dissing you, bringing you here and dropping you off. We are back, and it is a wonderful place to be here. It's Father's Day. And Ben, can you tell everybody where to find you at?
They can find me on Twitter at Benjamin P. Dixon.
Marcus?
You're on mute, bro.
You're on mute, brother.
I think this is Mondale's really nice way of saying it.
Yeah, I know it's time to go. It's good. And I'm happy I was on mute because I cussed.
I read your lips. I read your lips.
Great. Marcus for America on most channels, and then on Instagram, please follow Restorative Roots. You'll see some things going on. If you're in Chicago, we'll be seeing you soon.
Hey, and Mondale, where can they find you, bro?
Yeah, just Mondale Robinson on all social media platforms. Please, guys, share the word. Let everybody know that we're back every Sunday, 5 p.m. Ben, can you close it out?
I could close us out because guess what? I mean, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go for another 2-3 hours on this. But you're absolutely right. It's got to be something sustainable. So this is a good place as any. You can't ask a preacher to close out like that because it's especially on a Sunday. But folks, have a good one before I break out into a prayer. See y'all next time.
Peace.